So from my childhood, I had the problem like having hallucinogenic visions. Even before LSD time, I had strange visions. And I didn't have a confidence whether my vision is real or not real. So this kind of a sensitivity and mentalities, I wanted to visualize it with my photography. So if I'm looking these dioramas as alive, then I may be able to take a photograph the way I'm looking at.
The polar bear is the picture that really started my interest in Hiroshi's work. On the surface, it seems like such a quiet scene, but the closer you look, you see a dead seal with a little blood coming from its head. It's a quiet picture that also startles you once you come to the realization of what it is that you're actually looking at.
Diorama series, I start thinking about after the human civilization is over, the nature is coming back. It probably takes a few hundred years, maybe 1,000 years. I start to imagine, wow, the end is coming soon.
One of the reasons that he began photographing the dioramas is because, as he says, they look more real on film. You know, he's removed the color that in the museum is intended to make it look more realistic, yet it's not necessarily convincing because one realizes that they're completely fabricated objects. But once they're photographed, there's this illusion, even if it's fleeting, that they could be real natural scenes. And so Mr. Sugimoto is very much interested in the veracity of photography and the possibilities of photography to sort of oscillate between truth and fiction.
The portrait series is basically the extension of diorama series. You know, if I try to make it as real as possible so that people get confused. And if people tend to believe this is a live scene, then that's your problem, something wrong with your eye. Probably there was a portrait, a very beautiful portrait picture of Queen Victoria. That was beginning of the photography invention. And then the wax portrait was made based on this photography. And then I'm re-photographing it, so mine is like a third layers of images. I just put the life back to the fake portrait. Photography is a fake of the reality. And then making a wax figure is a second layer of making a fake reality. Now life is back and forth between death and life.
These wax figures were constructed sort of near the end of the 19th century, early 20th century, and they're based on paintings that are much older. They're actually by Hans Holbein the Younger, or his circle, who were basing them on the individuals, the subjects. So with the wax figures, when Hiroshi photographs them, he's so far removed from the actual subject that it depicts that level of sort of removal is incredibly interesting, and it becomes a representation of a representation of a representation.
The photography is a kind of killing machine. It stops the time. All the dead people remain as photography. So it's a very, very death-oriented machine, I think.
And he's a superb technician. That's one of the reasons why he's so well respected or so highly regarded by the photo community. But of course creates these incredibly conceptually grounded photographs that rival what was happening in conceptual art in the 1970s.
Fox Talbot, he was a great inventor. Daguerre was another counterpart, the French guy. But I owe more to Fox Talbot because he was an inventor of a negative-positive method. It can be mass-produced from one single negative. So the modern photography, I think it's all based on the negative-positive methods.
When he photographs these photogenic drawing negatives, his intention is to print them as positives. However, he introduces two elements which make them very different from creating a simple copy print. He enlarges them, and you also get this jewel-like tones that are really results of aging and deterioration. The print itself, Hiroshi's print itself, is very beautiful because you can see the grain of Talbot's original writing paper, and that becomes this new component of the print that isn't as clearly evident in Talbot's originals, which are very small. They're about the size of one's palm.
In ancient photography, people were very suspicious about photography, so it was introduced almost like magic. People believed that they will steal the spirits of the human. So many people scared to be photographed. I want to bring this feeling back to the photography again.